Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kristen. This is my booktube, and in today's video we are going to be talking about what I have on my March TBR. There is a good mix of books on this list format wise. As far as genres go, I'm really diving back into thrillers in the month of March, so there will be a hefty majority of those, as well as some other genres that are sprinkled in that you will see as we proceed along the list. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the books that I have on my March TBR. If you're familiar with my channel, I make these TBR lists of things that I would ideally like to read. Don't always get to all of them because sometimes other books come up that sound more interesting or more pressing to read right then and there. So this TBR list is not set in stone. These are really just some of the books that have caught my eye and are towards the top of my TBR list as of right now that I would like to get through in March. What you doing? Oh, thank you, honey. You're such a sweet girl. You gotta sit right here. Is that what you gotta do? You gotta sit right here. Can you lay down, please? Good girl. That's a good girl. Alrighty, now that we have the dog wrangled and she is settled for now, let's go ahead and just jump into this TBR list. I'm going to start with some of the books that I am already working on. Today is March 4th, so we are already a couple days into the month. So we will start with the books that I am currently working my way through. And the first one is going to be no surprise to anyone that has been watching any of my videos really in the last month, and that is Throne of Glass. I'm still working my way through this. I am still pretty early on in the book. And because I am flying blind in this book, I don't particularly know what the entire plot of this is. But what is going on right now is that our main character has been summoned by the Crown Prince to convince her to fight in this champion assassin games kind of thing for the king in exchange for a lighter sentence. She is being held as essentially a slave worker in some salt mines because she is an extremely deadly assassin. She has supposedly killed so many people. She's only 18, so much so that her reputation precedes her, and there are legends that are larger than life about her and all of these rumors about who she is. So people don't really know who this legendary assassin actually is. And they're planning on using that to their advantage in these assassin games. So that is pretty much where I am with this so far. I know that there's going to be so much more that happens, but I am still fairly early on. I think I'm only about 60 or so pages in. So we're still going through a lot of the world building at this point. The next book that I am already partway through is Mother's Instinct by Barbara Abel. This is my work book club's pick for February, and we are not actually meeting until March 6th. So I am currently making my way through that book, even though it was technically meant for February. When I have a book club book, I like to read that closer to the actual book club meeting date, especially if I don't think a book is very memorable. It's not going to stick in my mind very well, so I try to read the books as close to the meeting dates as possible so they are fresh in my mind, and this one is no exception, because we are meeting in 2 days and I am about halfway through it. But in case you're unaware of the plot of this story, this is the story that is being adapted into a movie with Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain. But even from the trailer that I've seen and what I've read in the book, I do think that there are quite a few differences that they've made to the story when adapting it for an American movie. So Mother's Instinct is about a pair of couples that are next door neighbors in the suburbs of Paris, I believe. I believe they're close to Paris, but they're not in the actual city. They're like in some suburban town outside. And there are two couples that live next door to each other. They are best friends. They even have children around the same time as each other, and their boys grow up together thick as thieves, basically like brothers. And everything is seemingly well and good. The families get along. They have their, disagreements about parenting styles and things like that, but nothing too major. They are truly friends first. And all of that changes when one of the sons dies tragically in an accident. When this happens, the couple that lost the son is basically consumed by grief, and the other family is kind of guilt-stricken, and it just continues, and it creates a rift in their relationship. And then some spooky things start happening with the son that is still alive. And that is about all I know about this book. I am to the point right now where Maxime, one of the sons, has passed away in an accident where he accidentally falls out of his bedroom window, ends up passing away. And so that is the point that I'm at right now. I haven't gotten to any of the other happenings that go on after Maxime passes away, but I should be getting into those pretty soon since my book club meeting is in 2 days. The book itself wasn't very long in general. I want to say it was under 10 hours to begin with, and I'm listening on increased speed as I usually do. So I should be able to get that book finished with plenty of time ahead of the book club meeting. Now that I have hit the big plot point of the book, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. The next book on my TBR for March is one that I kind of picked at random, but like not really. I was setting up my Kindle, which look forward to an unboxing and first impressions video coming soon. But when I was setting up my Kindle, I was just kind of scrolling through the Kindle library, and I found a Riley Sager book that was free to read, so I went ahead and downloaded that. And when I was testing out my stand and my page turner, I just set it up and I started reading that to kind of test out those accessories that I got. So I've also started a new Riley Sager book, and this is my first true ebook that I'm reading for fun too. So that's exciting. And the book is called The House Across the Lake. And if you can see any of these titles here, you can see that I have several Riley Sager books up on my shelves. I've only read 2 of the ones up here. I've read Home Before Dark, which is this lime green one. And then I read Lock Every Door, which is off camera. You can't even see it. It's down here. But yeah, so I am no stranger to Riley Sager, which is why I say it wasn't totally at random, because I know that I like his writing. So it's not like some of the other books where I just went solely off of cover and description. But yeah, so I've started that book. I believe I'm about 3% in. I'm only on page 12 or 13, something like that. That's another one where I really don't know anything about the plot. I really just went off of Riley Sager's name being on the cover and knowing that I've enjoyed 2 of his books before. So I'm gonna go into that one a little blind, which I think is gonna be an interesting experience. We'll see if I regret that one later. But yeah, I can only imagine that it has to do with a house across the lake. And so far, all that they've said about the house across the lake is that it is a massive steel and glass structure. And Riley Sager kind of refers to it as kind of like a lake, where when you're just looking at the surface, you can kind of see what's underneath, but not very clearly. And it's only when you like get up close and basically press your face up against the glass that you can actually see what's going on the inside. And whether that is foreshadowing for some of the characters as well, where, you know, they look one way on the outside and then when you look closer, they look a different way. I can see that being a thing in this book, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's save the speculation for later when I'm a little bit further into the book and I actually have an idea of what the plot's about. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I have already started in March. So let's go ahead and get into the books that I have not yet started, but I would like to read at some point in the near future. And we're going to start with the one physical book that I have on my TBR for March, aside from Throne of Glass, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. Whew. My allergies. It is March and my allergies are in full swing, so I apologize. If my nose and eyes seem a little red in this video, it is because I am sneezing up a storm today. It is feeling like spring in Texas today. Things are blooming and that is really annoying my sinuses and my eyes. So please pardon any sniffling or stuffy sounding sinuses in this video. I'm just a girl with allergies trying my best. Daisy Jones and the Six. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the same author that wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is Back, all of those. And this also takes place in the same kind of universe as those books. If you are unfamiliar with her writing style, Taylor Jenkins Reid does a lot of historical fiction based on real celebrities. So for example, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was loosely based on Elizabeth Taylor and other big Hollywood actors and actresses in the 30s to the 60s. Malibu Rising takes place in the 80s, and it is about the children of a character that appears in Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Carrie Soto is Back is about, as you would imagine, Carrie Soto, who is a character that appears in Malibu Rising. And then Daisy Jones and the Six is about a Fleetwood Mac type band, from what I understand. And that is basically all I know about this. From my previous experience with her work, I do know that I like going into these books with a loose idea of what the plot is, and then just letting the story happen. That's what I did with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's what I did with Malibu Rising. It's what I want to do with this one too. So I'm very interested to read this book. This has also already been turned into a series on Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure, with Sam Claflin as one of the main characters. So definitely want to see that because I do love Sam Claflin. Yeah, and I've heard some really good things about this book. And as you can see, it won Book of the Year in 2019 for Book of the Month. So clearly it's a book that a lot of people love. So I'm excited to continue down the rabbit hole of Taylor Jenkins Reid's historical fiction work. So this will be my next installment of that. Alrighty, and the last two books on my March TBR are both audiobooks that I will be listening to throughout the month while I do dishes, walk my dog, all of that kind of stuff. And the first one is another repeat author, and the book is called The Silent Wife. So this book is by Karin Slaughter, which I don't remember if I was actually doing YouTube videos when I read Pretty Girls. I don't think I was doing YouTube when I read Pretty Girls. I think I read Pretty Girls in 2022, but that is by far and large the most insane thriller that I think I had read up to that point, and maybe even still. That thriller was so crazy in the twists that it had. It was very creepy. It was very horrifying. It was so well written, so well done. It was a really, really good thriller. And it was a long thriller too. I listened to the audiobook and I think it was like almost 18 to 20 hours. And most of the thrillers that I have listened to have been like 11, 12 hours max. So the fact that Karin Slaughter could write a thriller that was 18 hours long and was thrilling for pretty much every second of the book is amazing to me just in itself. But it's also a thriller that has, for lack of a better term, haunted me for a couple years. It is quite disturbing. So if you are thinking of picking up that book based off of that very vague description alone, just know that it is a very intense book. There is a lot of violence, a lot of sexual violence. There's torture. And that's just the stuff that I'm remembering off the top of my head when I read it a year and a half ago. So just proceed with caution. It is a very well done thriller, but it is also full of very disturbing themes. So just want to put that out there because I think that's very important to know when going into a Karin Slaughter book. And that is something that I have in mind going into The Silent Wife as well. I don't know if that kind of intense writing style is something that she does in all of her thrillers or if that was just something she did for Pretty Girls, but I do think it's important to have that in mind, that that is how she has written in other books, so that I am prepared for whatever may come in this book. So The Silent Wife is actually, I believe, book number 10 in an established series that Karin Slaughter has about a character named Will Trent. It seems like the consensus on Goodreads is that you can read The Silent Wife as a standalone book if you want to. You just won't have all of the thematic stuff that is constant throughout the series. But people that are fans of the series seem to say that it's not detrimental for you not to be aware of all of the lore leading up to this book. And they even said that you'll probably want to go back and start from the beginning. So if that happens, I'll have a new series to start reading, so that'll be something fun, I guess. And then the last book on my March TBR is called They Never Learn. And this book is one that I found on the Everand site, formerly known as Scribed. And this one really drew me in by the synopsis of the book. So this book is about a professor, I believe she's a professor, who is a serial killer. And she's kind of like a Dexter type, like a vigilante serial killer. And her main target is terrible men. And from what it said in the synopsis, it seems like she encounters these terrible men and then she just removes them from society. And I thought that was a very interesting premise. I believe it had pretty decent ratings on the app, and it piqued my interest, so I went ahead and just added it to my TBR for the month of March. And with that, we have reached the end of my March TBR list. I am already enjoying the books that I have started this month, so hopefully, since I've already started 3 and I'm like working my way through them, I can get through most of these books, if not all of them. But yeah, we'll have to see when the end of March rolls around how many of these I actually made it through. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. Let me know. You should also subscribe while you're down there because I put out new videos every single weekend. And yeah, like I said earlier, I will be putting out a Kindle unboxing fairly soon. I think I'm going to try to get it out next week. So be on the lookout for that. And I can give you my honest first opinions and reactions of my Kindle Paperwhite. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!